Hi, and welcome to another edition of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And in today's edition, we're going to be looking at Greta Thunberg and her amazing idea for world peace. Obviously, this naive, underdeveloped child, well, she's not a child now, is she? She's a grown-ass woman. But she's still very childlike in her mannerisms, ways, looks, and thought processes. But that's what happens when you have hot-housing parents who fail to make you develop as a fully rounded human being. But we shall look at her ideas and probably ridicule them. But here's the piece, and I'll go down into my usual little corner and we'll look at it. Okay. So here we are. Greta Thunberg's group launches protest against Russian invasion of Ukraine. And there's a picture of the orange-faced Oompa Loompa. Do you know, that isn't puppy fat, is it? I mean, she's 18 now. She really needs to lay off the pies. She's a young girl with a double chin. And she claims she's doing her bit for the climate. What she could do with eating a bit less might help. So, teenage climate activist Greta Thunberg's group, Fridays for Future, on Thursday launched a series of rallies to protest Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Why didn't she do it on a Friday? The group said it plans to hold events in over 40 cities around the world. I bet not one of them is in Russia or the Ukraine. There she is, with her mittens. Bless. I bet she's got a bit of string that runs from this mitten up, round the back, down here, and out and onto that bit of mitten. Because she looks the sort that would lose her mittens, doesn't she? Fridays for Future specialises in youth strikes that involve students marching out of their classrooms to demand action on their climate change agenda. Yeah, Greta, you're no longer a youth, love. You're a grown-ass woman. The same technique will evidently be used for the protests against Russia. Oh, right, yeah, and Putin's going to listen. He hasn't listened so far. What makes you think he's going to listen to a bunch of children? We are running a demonstration at 12 p.m. in the middle of the day. That's generally when 12 p.m. is. Because the lives of the Ukrainian people have been stopped, not by their choice. We also want to stop our lives in solidarity with them, a Fridays for Future activist student in Warsaw told Yahoo News. Well, you can do what you like, love, because nobody cares. Nobody. Zero. Putin don't care. The world leaders don't care. 99.999% of the population don't care. Ukrainian voices, refugee voices, will be leading that demonstration, and we, as Fridays, will just be the host, providing logistics to make it happen, the student said, referring to the large number of Ukrainian refugees who have crossed the border into Poland during the Russian attack. Fridays for Future rallies have been planned in Germany, Portugal, Italy and Nigeria. I was right, not Russia, not Ukraine. And the group says it might change the global climate protest they planned for March 25th to focus on the Russian invasion instead. Again, nobody cares. Nobody, zero cares. There are zero cares given. Thunberg and her group are studiously oblivious to the effect climate activism has had on the regional politics by throttling European energy production and boosting the value of Russia's oil. At best, comments from the group to Yahoo and other outlets indicated they think Russia's economic leverage supports their cause because the world can only neutralise it by completely abandoning fossil fuels. No, this is the naivety, the stupidity of this child, because she was a child when she started. You cannot make that change overnight. The technology isn't there. The infrastructure isn't there. And anything that causes major disruption will ultimately end up a failure. And while I'm quite happy to go on a long, slow process of change, it cannot be the sudden stop that she's thinking that's going to happen. And in the interim, they have destroyed Germany. Germany now relies and still relies and is still buying gas from Russia. It's giving Russia billions of euros a day. A day. Germany is funding the invasion of the Ukraine. And why is it doing that? It's because the German leaders listened to a naive, stupid little child and shut down all their coal stations and shut down all their oil generating stations. and went, oh, let's buy gas. Yes, gas is still a fossil fuel, but it's less bad. Meanwhile, Russia's going, oh, Germany paying us $1 billion a day. Let's invade Ukraine. Well done, Greta. Well done. Every dead body in the Ukraine can be laid at your door. Every single one. I hope you're proud of yourself, love. Right, the UK Independent on Friday quoted economists who echoed that line, unironically, saluting Thunberg as more effective than any Western sanctions, because climate activists can supposedly bankrupt the oil-rich Russian tyranny by re-primitivizing the Western world. Yeah, so we can make Russia poor if we go back to the horse and cart and eat gruel in our hovels. Ain't gonna happen, love. Ain't gonna happen. If you want to bankrupt the Russians, it's easy. Build nuclear power stations, buy oil, open up coal power stations, and tell Russia to take their oil and shove it. Europe's fantastically expensive efforts to follow climate alarmist advice, and it is horrendously expensive, and switch over to green energy have been a spectacular disaster during high demand periods, such as freezing cold winter months. Yeah, because in the winter the sun don't shine, so all your solar is rubbish. Wind farms actually cost more to build and run than they produce, have a limited life, and only work up to a maximum wind speed, so more wind doesn't mean more energy. Tidal isn't really used. What else are you left with? There's bio-burning, isn't there? But even then, not good for the environment. Anyway, one reason Russia has so much leverage right now is that the Europeans spent the last month of 2021 scrambling to buy oil and gas to pick up the slack from underperforming green energy networks, pushing energy prices to record highs. That's right, your granny is going to die freezing to death in her flat because of Greta. Because Greta says, "Oh, let's not have coal stations to keep the power on. Let's put the prices up so Granny can't afford it. Granny's got a choice: put a wee 1 bar fire on or a tin of beans." Granny went for the beans and died of hypothermia. It's very sad for Granny. Again, Greta should be paying the bill for that funeral. As for nuclear power, the climate change movement remains largely opposed to it. Why? It's clean. Climatically, it is clean. There is no downside to nuclear energy. It doesn't produce any waste except nuclear waste, which you bury in a large hole back where it came from, i.e. the middle of the earth. Thunberg herself demanded Europe abandon all plans to finance nuclear plants, but the European Commission rejected her demands in December. Thank God, it's the one thing the EU have actually done right. And classified nuclear power as sustainable energy, which it is, undoubtedly. The hair-raising battles fought near Ukrainian nuclear plants, including the infamous Chernobyl site, will not help to alleviate safety concerns. Yeah, it's not the nuclear power station that's the danger here. It's the bombs going off around it. And of course, the Chernobyl site was a very, very old nuclear power station, and it relied on old technology. And I think there's only about 3 of them still of that design working in the world, and they know not to do what they did at Chernobyl. Modern nuclear power stations, much smaller, much cleaner, much safer. There's no risk at all of meltdowns, because instead of putting safety controls in, the modern ones, you have to physically pull the safety controls out, so they're fail safe. When they fail safe. They don't fail explosion. So there's no worry from that. But yeah, so this little munchkin and her stupid policies and her stupid orange face and her stupid purple hat have actually given the Russians enough money to launch a major war in Europe, and have led to fuel poverty across the entire continent. And she wants people to go back, basically living Stone Age lives, to save the planet. No, technology will save the planet. Advancement will save the planet, not stepping back. The big problem she has isn't advancement, though. Her problem is mental instability. I think she actually is corrupted by her own parents' politicization. And I think she firmly believes what they have told her. But she hasn't grown up yet. She hasn't seen the world for what it is. She's obviously economically naive, technologically naive, and she's still living a little wonderland of childhood fantasy. And what's really sad is that grown-up adult leaders are listening to her instead of patting her on the head, giving her a colouring book and telling her to go, don't do it. Try not to get over the lines, love. Try and keep your crayons inside the lines, because that's the level she's at. So I think we'll round it off now. I'll come back up and we'll finish the video. Yep, so there we are. That's Greta's take on the Russian problem at the moment. She's going to pull out all the children are going to go on strike for a day, and that'll make Putin think or something in her little naivety. It's sad that the world leaders do listen to her, because she's wrong so many different ways. And I claim she's naive. I think they are more so. She knows no better. They should. And I think that if they keep listening to her and they keep doing these strange, wonderful, stupid things, God help us all. Boris's net zero initiative. Well, not Boris's, is it? Carrie's. They call her Carrie because she carries things in her hand. Small round things that used to belong to Boris, I think. And she wants, let's go green. I've listened to Greta, and this is the way. It's like the bloody Mandalorian, and this is the way. But it's not the way. Sure, ultimately it probably is the way, but it's not the way by doing it the way they're doing it now. Massive, massive changes. All of a sudden, bang. It's got to be gradual. It's got to be 2-3 generations. It's the only way it's going to work. It cannot be a cut-off. It cannot be a line in the sand. And the naivety of politicians thinking they're going to force this through is frightening, because all they'll do is put the world backwards 200-300 years. We're horse and cart technology again, and a horse and cart technology with people who've come to expect more will lead to war. It will lead to, how can we say, battles for resources. And when you don't have the technology to get those resources out properly, because Greta's turned off all the power, it will be bloody. Still, happy days. I'll round off now, and I will just say that if you like what you hear and see on the channel, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Ring the bell for notifications on new content. Definitely leave a like, and if you make a comment, we will read them and respond. We like the comments. So it all helps with the metrics, So until next time, stay safe, stay well, goodbye.